Alright, this is my video response to, excuse me, Ziploc Gory, Mount Vernon Kid, Rodney, and all the other people that are involved with Anime Real Talk. Or Anime Chat Talk, I forget the name of the channel. I'm sure I'll find you guys' like collaboration channel. But you guys talked about the Captain America trailer, and I feel kind of a little bit bad to a certain extent, because I'm not doing this video to be an asshole, just to get that out of the way. I'm doing this actually more to help, explain the trailer. Because in a sense, Captain America being one of my favorite Marvel heroes, I figure I could break down the trailer and just kind of explain certain things that I saw, and kind of explain a lot of like collaborative stuff that I've read about the movie thus far that I've studied. Now, the first shot that we see here is, I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but the first shot that we see, of course, and yes, you can see my reflection, it's really bad. Let me see if I can tilt my, there we go. First shot we see is of Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. Now, he is CG'd, and hold on, there we go. Stupid, sorry, let me see if I can go back a bit. Boy, I'm not having a good day with this. Okay, scroll back, scroll back, scroll back, there we go. Now, Chris Evans is actually CG'd to look very skinny, and Steve Rogers in the comics, he was about like 70, 75, close to 80 pounds. He was a very skinny, kind of frail person. Now, the lady who is actually to the left of him, that is Peggy Carter. And Peggy Carter was actually a potential love interest for Cap during World War II, but she was a British secret agent, I believe, as well. Or she like worked in like the field for the Allies. And she was a very prominent Captain America side character. So she plays a little bit of a pivotal role, I guess you can say, in this film, as like a major ally to Cap. And interesting little fact, Steve Rogers actually is in love with her daughter, Sharon Carter, who was actually supposedly in the death of Captain America comic book storyline. She was actually the one who, under a hypnotic trance by Red Skull, shot Steve Rogers to death. Now, I'm sure none of you who are watching this video or there at Anime Real Talk actually care about that, but I'm just elaborating, just for the sake of doing so. So this is actually the mother of Cap's current girlfriend in the comics, if you want to look at it in that way. Alright. Now, we move on. Okay, now, we move on to Steve Rogers being put into the Operation Rebirth chamber, and him kind of showing him being strapped in the Operation Rebirth machine. We see him trying to go through Army basic training and not really doing so well. This is basically, Dr. some say Arkin, but this is basically the guy that created the super soldier serum that gives Steve Rogers his abilities. And another shot, of course, of Chris Evans here. And, of course, Tommy Lee Jones playing Chester Phillips, who is the guy that hires him for Operation Rebirth. Yeah, the sound loop is off, by the way. And of course he comes out as Captain America. The sound loop's also off, by the way. Now, this is a money shot that I missed. Now you see Cap in the middle. Now, to his left is Bucky Barnes, who kind of has a little bit of a Winter Soldier-ish look. And presumably that's Frenchie on the left, but on his right is Neil McDonough as Dum Dum Dugan. Now, for those of you who are in the Marvel Comics universe, and to let you guys at Anime Real Talk actually know, these are two members of the Howling Commandos, which was a World War II GI group led by Nick Fury, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson. So we may see Samuel L. Jackson kind of CG to look either the same or a little bit younger. And we may actually in this movie as a side plot see Samuel L. Jackson and how he lost his eye, or they'll kind of set that up for a Nick Fury film. So yeah, the Howling Commandos are basically referenced, which that's in dire strait to the Captain America universe, but also to the World War II universe. And we might actually see a reference to the Invaders, which were a set of characters that would include like Union Jack, Namor the Submariner, and Jim Hammond, the original Human Torch that I did a lesser known but awesome heroes on.
It was.
Now, some action clips and him skating across. Little fighter jet there. Him running across. Actually, let me see if I can scroll back. Now this shot shows actually shows Dum Dum Dugan a little bit more with the bowler hat and everything, and like the Howling Commandos, the GIs. Now, you are correct to a certain extent, Rodney. This is a first, shall we say, incarnational look of Steve Rogers when he first was Captain America, like his first outfit. This is actually inspired kind of somewhat by the Ultimate version of Steve Rogers, because he actually had an army helmet that was painted blue with an A on it. And if you look at very closely, his shield is actually the Templar shield. It's the badge-shaped shield when he first debuted, or that he used in Ultimate World War II. And he had a leather jacket and stuff like that. So this is kind of a more, shall we say, casual Cap before we see the actual costume that he dons. And plus they've said that throughout the film we're going to see different variations of his costume. Now, we move on. This guy that he's punching out in the sub is actually the assassin that kills, the Doctor. So this is staying in tandem with the Marvel Comics universe. The guys with the flamethrowers. You were sitting there saying, Rodney, that these guys look futuristic and stuff. Are these villains? These guys in the black suits, they are actually part of the supervillain terrorist group Hydra. Now, Hydra during World War II, they were invented in World War II as kind of like a side group of the Nazi SS, to a certain extent. They were more based around like, character, I guess you can say Nazis that were given like steroids and all kinds of enhancements and stuff. And basically Hydra is a group that has been around since World War II, and pretty much nearly everybody's fought them. Captain America, Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D., Iron Man, the Hulk, you name any Marvel character, they've probably come up against Hydra. So Hydra is like the main bad guy group, and they of course are led by Red Skull. And so when you see like laser blasters and stuff like this, yeah, Hydra has always been an advanced, shall we say, technological terrorist group. They use a lot of advanced technology and, come up with some really like bizarre but really kind of intimidating, stuff. And of course, nearly missed it. There we are. The money shot that you cannot miss is Hugo Weaving as Red Skull, the very first shot. Now, little interesting movie fact. Hugo Weaving, the prosthetic mask that he wears, because it is prosthetic, it's not CG, the mask actually forms around his nose. So Hugo Weaving's nose actually pokes out of this, prosthetic mask. So to pretty much get it out of the way, they take black, like this, almost like black acrylic glittery like CG paint, and they put it over his nose. So then when they go into editing it and putting CG in and stuff, they basically digitally cut off Hugo Weaving's nose so it looks like he's got no nose as Red Skull. Now, move on to the next part. Classic Cap pose. Oh yeah, and before I forget, the costume is actually based on variations of the Ultimate Captain America and the Classic Captain America.